Hello and welcome to another episode of the Exam Update series. My name is Pooja and today we are going to explain what is EPFO with respect to Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner and Enforcement Officer or Accounts Officer. So these are the things that we need to clarify because notification is upcoming for certain exams of EPFO. You need to understand if you're preparing for UPSC Civil Services, you can also go for these examinations. Shoot for the moon, you will land upon the stars. This is a common saying for this particular examination. So what is EPFO? We will talk about APFC, that is Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner, and Enforcement Officer, also Accounts Officer, the duties of them, the basic eligibility criteria, exam pattern and syllabus. Whatever will be left will be covered in the upcoming episode. Okay, so let's talk about EPFO. EPFO is the short form of Employees Provident Fund Organization, and it is one of the world's largest social security organization which is dealing with provident fund management. In terms of clientele and the volume of financial transaction undertaken, then only it becomes the world's largest social security organization. At present, it maintains 24.77 crore accounts, and that is the annual report of 1920 pertaining to its members. The Employees Provident Funds Bill was introduced in the year 1952 in order to provide for the institution of provident funds for employees in factories and other establishments, so that whenever there will come a need for social measures, these workers in factories and other employees, they can fall back upon the Provident Fund. Moving ahead, this becomes the Employees Provident Funds and Miscellaneous Provisions Act of 1952, which extends to whole of India. The acts and schemes framed thereunder are administered by a tripartite board. That means three parties, which includes the Central Board of Trustees, the Employees Provident Fund, which consists of the representatives of the government, that is both the central and the state, also employees and employers. Okay, the board operates three schemes: EPF scheme 1952, pension scheme 1995, and insurance scheme 1976. So this is the basic information you need to have if you are going to prepare for this examination. Now let's talk about the three important posts we can say. The Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner, which is a Group A post and it is a gazetted post, and the duties are such, it has a myriad of duty. This particular post needs to execute them at a proper level, and they generally work under the control of Regional Provident Fund Commissioner. Okay, so the Chief Provident Fund Commissioner is the head, then comes various other posts. Under that only we have Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner, and it's a gazetted post, Group A. Enforcement Officer is basically a field job. Wherever the field job is needed to enforce something, Enforcement Officer will come into the picture. Accounts Officer, and this is a desk job to maintain the accounts. Basically, it's a Group B post. It's a Group B post and it is also a gazetted post. That means the gazetted officer, gazetted post basically is a managerial or executive post for which the authority to issue stamps comes directly from the president. Okay, and the duty is to look after the general administrative work of enforcement, recovery, accounts, administration, cash, legal, pension and computer section, and conduct regular inquiries of accounts and settlement of claims. That pertains to Accounts Officer, Enforcement Officer. Moving ahead, let's talk about the eligibility for Assistant Provident Fund Commissioner. Very importantly, first we see the age eligibility. Now, as per the previous UPSC EPFO APFC notification, the information will flow from here only because the new notification hasn't come as of yet. A candidate who is above the age of 21 and below the age of 35 years is eligible on the age front. Okay, and there is a relaxation of 5 years of the age limit if one belongs to SC/ST category, and 3 years in case of OBC category. Moving ahead, if we talk about the educational qualification, candidates must have completed graduation from a recognized university in any discipline. There can be preference given to other disciplines such as bachelors of law or bachelors of accounts, these kind of BCom basically, these kind of degrees can also be asked for, but you can apply for this examination if you have a graduation degree from a recognized institute. Then if we talk about the citizenship, that is important for you to know. A candidate must be either a citizen of India, a subject of Nepal or Bhutan, a Tibetan refugee who came over to India before 1st January 1962, and they are permanently living in India. Apart from that, you can also see that a person of Indian origin who has migrated from Pakistan, Burma, Sri Lanka, East African countries of Kenya, Uganda, and the rest, or a candidate belonging to these particular nations, they can also be considered. Okay, moving ahead, let's go towards another thing, that is eligibility for enforcement officer or accounts officer and accounts officer. You see, before this we talked about APFC, right? So educational qualification, again here, bachelor's degree in any subject from a recognized institute. Age eligibility, minimum years in the notification, the last notification, minimum year was, the age was not mentioned, maximum was 30 years, and the age is relaxable for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe candidates up to 5 years, 3 years for OBCs, and age limit is also relaxable for employees of the Employees Provident Fund organization up to 5 years. Apart from that, even ex-servicemen, you see the upper age limit in case of ex-servicemen and commissional officers, that includes ECOs and SSCOs, it shall also be relaxed by 5 years. But it will be subject to the condition that on the closing date for receipt of application, on the closing date, this will be the benchmark through which we calculate the age. On the receiving date, the last date, closing date of receipt of application, the continuous service which is rendered in the armed forces by ex-servicemen should be of continuous 6 months. This is the threshold. At the time of closing, 6 months should have been recorded whenever ex-servicemen want to get their job in EPFO, and that should be continuous in nature. Okay, moving ahead. Now we need to understand the exam pattern. See, for APFC, there are two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 has a computer-based recruitment test. That means computer technology will be employed. That means you will give the exam online. This will be of 100 marks. Phase 2 is the personal interview. So there are two things, which is, this is MCQs, objective based, there is no mains over here, and phase 2 is personal interview, that is like the UPSC one, but of course the weightage is less. Here the exam pattern of the phase 1 examination. Let's see the pattern. The exam features a total of 120 questions and the duration will be of 2 hours, that is 120 minutes. There shall be negative marking of 1-3 marks upon marking a wrong answer. So here also we have penalty marks. The weightage with respect to the calculation for the cutoff will be 75:25. That means 75% weightage will be given to phase 1, that is your MCQ, and phase 2, that is personal interview, it will be given just 25% of weightage. Moving ahead, let's talk about the syllabus. Now, section A of the syllabus of APFC contains just general English, that is the English part. The idioms, phrases, fill in the blank sentences, those kind of questions can come. We will discuss the paper as well when the next episode comes. Section B will contain of those things you have definitely studied for UPSC, such as Indian culture, heritage and freedom movements, current affairs, current events, population development, globalization, constitution of India and governance, accounting and auditing, industrial relation, labor laws and insurance, basic knowledge of computer application, general science, elementary mathematics, statistics and general mental ability, social security in India, present trends in the Indian economy. Phase 2 is personal interview. That is very whimsical. There is no set pattern, and personal interview carries a total of 100 marks that I have already told you. Moving ahead, let's talk about the exam pattern for enforcement officer and accounts officer. See, it will be a pen and paper based recruitment test, different from the one we talked about, APFC. 100 marks. Personal interview, again 100 marks. Weightage will be same, 75:25, remember that. The scheme for RT, that means how will be the exam getting conducted. Test will be of 2 hours, and again the question will carry equal marks. It will be objective type question, MCQs will be there, mains written is not going to be there. Medium will be both Hindi and English, same as in APFC. every wrong answer will carry a deduction of 1/3 of the marks assigned to the question. If no answer is marked, of course, penalty will not be there. Weightage I have already told you. Now, again, if we talk about the syllabus over here, it's more the same. Let's see. It comprises of general English in order to understand candidates' understanding of English language and workmen like use of words. Then, again, if we talk about the other parts, Indian freedom struggle, same. Current events and developmental issue, Indian polity and economy, general accounting principles, industrial relation, labor laws, general science and knowledge of computer application, general mental ability and quantitative aptitude, and social security in India. This is the general scheme. So I hope you understood how the exam is based upon, what is the premise of it. For more such information, constantly look at for our exam updates. We will come up with more episodes to make it more clear. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Stay updated.